What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with another Raid Shadow Legends video. And in today's video we have some pretty cool news. We actually were able to sort of build an unkillable comp. You'll see some pictures scrolling by at the beginning here. They're going to show some of my initial test runs after we started this series last week with the introductory video. But we actually were able to complete an unkillable composition within about 5 days, and I did take a little bit of a shortcut that I'm going to go over when we cover the comp here in just a second. But this is pretty cool. I spent several days just grinding spider, grinding dragon, building up silver, trying to get some gear, and unfortunately it became apparent. Let's go into our gear hill real quick, and I'm just going to sort of show you guys here. We're going to sort everything by substats. So you can kind of see how I started to try to roll everything, and you can see on most of these, the pieces that I had speed on with the chance to like triple roll, it would only hit speed once, it would hit something else, twice instead, or it would hit wouldn't even hit speed at all. So we rolled a whole bunch of gear. Like here we hit HP 3 times instead of hitting speed at all. Same thing on this one. So I rolled gear pretty much all weekend, and it quickly became apparent that this was going to become a very long process. Like the shield, for example, you see here again, nothing ever hits speed for me. It's just like the white whale looking for those speed rolls, hoping. So we hit 2 here, but then it hit the last one on the crit damage. So I rolled a bunch of gear. Unfortunately, didn't hit too many with the big speed roll. So I was kind of thinking to myself, what's a way we can get around this? And I started thinking about arena. I'm like, well, we use speed boost champs in arena to kind of get around arena speeds or to make our team faster. So why not use a speed or a lead to hit the speeds that are necessary for this, for the clan boss? So I actually went through my champs, and originally I was thinking about using Mother Superior for her attack down, but then I realized, Maneater has the attack down, and then I realized I also had Battle Sage just kind of sitting there, not really doing much. And she has a 19% ally speed in all battles by 19%. So I saw that and I thought, man, maybe we can use her. And so I did a little bit of math. I got a sheet of paper here in front of me. I wrote down all these calculations. And what it made it happen was I only had to hit a much lower requirement on the speed numbers for the gear, because once her speed aura kicks in, it kind of bumps everybody up to the proper speeds and allows us to complete this comp without having the excellent gear that we actually probably need to run it. And obviously you would be running someone else besides Battle Sage in that open DPS spot. So we decided to pick her up, and the main reason is because none of her abilities have anything that screw around with turn meter. High Katoon would have been a better choice, but she has the her Rally of the Horde, puts the increased speed buff and fills the turn meter by 15%, which throws off the entire tune of the comp, so you can't use her in that position. There may be other speed leads that you can use instead of Battle Sage, but I honestly don't have any other ones, so I went with her. So really she's just going to be using her A1 here, which is normally an AoE and attacks all enemies. So you see in some of the pictures though, we actually, with this comp, were able to 2-key Nightmare. Just at the bare minimum. The gear on this is not great. You can see we're in mixed sets for the most part. I pretty much just threw whatever I had on that had good speed numbers in order to hit the speed. So you can see, like with Battle Sage, for example, she only had to be 204. Once her aura kicks in, that kicks her up to, I think she's 223 is her number, which had to be between 221 and 227. We got both of our Maneaters built. We got our fast Maneater here, who you can see he's at 247. When his speed aura kicks in, it's 265.6, I believe, is the exact number, so he's right at the number he needs to be. Obviously, the rest of the stats are not amazing at this point, because we did just throw broken sets on most of these guys to just get the comp working, to see if it would function properly. This is our second Maneater here. You can see he's at 223 speed, and with the aura kicks in, he goes up to 242. So he fits right into that range he had to be in as well. And then we also have, where's our other, here's Seeker. He was actually the last one to get built. You can see here, we haven't even rolled up some of his gear yet, so his numbers are still down a little bit. He's at 235. When he gets his bump, he goes up to 255 on the aura for him when it goes up there. And then finally we do have our Painkeeper, who she had pretty much already been fully built anyways, so I didn't have to do a whole lot of work with her. That was kind of one of the things that saved me a little bit of time and a little bit of silver. But you can see here her speed is at 232, and then she goes up to 251 when she's going there, so she's actually able to go in tune with the Seeker. So pretty cool. We were able to build these out. Like I said, the gear is not amazing. You can see here they're all in broken sets. We have some gear we haven't even rolled all the way out on most of these characters. So that's going to be kind of the thing going on with the artifact enhancement event. We'll kind of try to roll some of this stuff up and see if we can build up some better statistics. I'm still working on Spider. You can see here we've got a 4-star banner. We've got some crappy banners and some crappy artifacts here. Just threw whatever we could on here to make this work. So I wanted to see if I could get it to the spot where it would go. And what we'll do is at the end of this video, we'll actually show a run of this whole thing going all the way through, so you can kind of see it in action. As I said, you know, we're just kind of at the basic right now, using the shortcut of the speed booster to hit the speeds. That's going to save us a ton of time and silver having to go out and get that gear. At some point, we'll go for a more traditional unkillable team once we do get the gear built up. But that's something we're going to be working on in the episodes that follow this. I figure since we were able to build this comp so early, I thought it was going to take more than one episode to do it. So now what we're probably going to do is focus on making it better. So for the time being, we're going to try to roll up some of this gear, get some better gear pieces on these guys to keep the speed tune going. And then eventually what I would like to do is put some of these characters in either a Toxic or a Fury set so that they can do more damage when their HP is low, and put out some poisons, because right now really the only debuff we can put down is attack down. So we're not getting a lot of mileage out of that. We're just basically doing raw damage off our attack, crit rate, and crit damage. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Masteries are pretty simple on all of these guys. We kind of went down the defense tree, the same route for everybody except for Painkeeper, and I'll explain why here in just a minute. But pretty much all these masteries are the same, and they kind of allow us to use these guys outside of clan boss as well in some cases. Now, if you're gonna, I never say copy the masteries, but in most cases, if you're trying to build a speed tune like this for the clan boss, one of the important things to remember is it's very dependent on your turn meter. So you really don't want anything that's going to boost turn meter or give your characters extra turns that might give them an ability that gives more turn meter. So that's why we kind of skipped the support tree. There's a couple of abilities in here we might have taken otherwise that can throw off the tune. But we just went with a very simple defense. We've got the Retribution here, which gives you a chance to counterattack, which will allow you to do a little bit more damage. Now, there's a reason Painkeeper was a little bit different. I had built Painkeeper that way, all the way down, but you'll notice here we have her in, what is this? In Selfless Defender instead of Retribution, mainly because when she counterattacks with Retribution, she uses her A1, which fills her turn meter by 10%. This is fine if you're just running the normal speed tune with her, that she does this turn meter boost. But if you have her in Retribution, what happens is when she counterattacks, she will get this turn meter boost, and it'll eventually throw off the tune. So what happened the first time I ran this tune, it actually failed at turn 44 because the turns got mixed up. And then I kept trying to run it again and again. It would fail at turn 26, it would fail at turn 33. I couldn't get it to go the full 50 rounds. And then I finally realized I was looking through all the kits, trying to figure out what I had done wrong, because I hit all the speeds, all the speed ranges were fine. The turn order was fine at the beginning. And then I looked at this and I said, oh, well, she's counterattacking with this and gaining that 10% turn meter when she counterattacks, and that eventually is enough to throw the entire tune off once you get far enough down the road. So that's why we kind of stuck her in a different mastery there. Otherwise, we kind of went down that same pathway. So pretty basic builds on all of these. It was just about hitting the speed. And then it took me about an hour worth of, burning a couple clan boss keys to kind of figure out what wasn't working. So we eventually did get it to go the full 50 turns. And this also worked on Ultra Nightmare. I can't remember what the exact damage number was on Ultra Nightmare. It wasn't impressive. It was only like 13 or 14 million. But still, the fact that it worked all 50 turns with the same speed tune for regular Nightmare was pretty cool. So we can actually show you here. Let me go into the clan boss here. So we got Nightmare. And you can see here we're at 39.5 million after 2 keys. So that will give us just barely over the threshold we need. I think on average we're doing right around 20 million with this composition on one run, and that's again with very basic kind of crappy gear on these champions. Once we get them all you know, in some much better gear sets, and even when we get these gear sets rolled up, I think we're going to get some much better results. So the goal is to eventually be able to pretty cleanly 2-key Nightmare, and then be able to move over to Ultra Nightmare and see what they can do in that run as well. But that's pretty much where we're at right now. It's pretty cool. We're very ahead of schedule to where I thought I was going to be, in kind of a unique lead using Battle Sage to hit those speed numbers. I just thought it would be kind of a neat way to sort of bypass the speed requirements on the gear, because like I said, I was just rolling gear all weekend and I could not get anything to roll with a good speed. So that kind of gives you guys an idea when you're trying to build a team like this. It's going to take a long time if you go the traditional route and you're trying to you know, hit those speed numbers on the dot just from gear and just from getting banner. Like, your banner is the only item that can roll speed out of your accessories, and the spider tends to be very stingy with these, so it just takes a long time to build up the gear you need for this comp. So, you know, just keep that in mind whenever you are trying to attempt this. But I thought this was pretty cool. You know, I know, you know, 20 million damage isn't impressive yet for what this team can do, but I was pretty happy with this working out. And when it actually finally did work on Nightmare, you know, I felt like one of those guys at NASA who'd been sitting there calculating things for days, and it's like, oh, it works, we got it to work, you know, finally. So, and I ran it a couple times in a row just to make sure we could get it to work properly. So very cool news, very exciting times. You know, I went on this account now from doing about 10 million a key on average on Nightmare to an hour where I can 2-key Nightmares. So that's kind of the benefit of having an unkillable composition, is it allows you to do much better in Clan Boss, regardless kind of your gear situation. As long as you can roll those speeds, you can do some pretty cool stuff with damage. So all that said, let's go ahead and get into a run that I recorded before this. I'll give some comments on that and then let it play through, and then we'll give some final thoughts. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and get into the tune now and go into one of our runs that we did last night. There are a couple things you have to do in order to get this going. First, I like to manual it for about 9 turns. You're going to go A3 on your first Man-Eater, followed by your Seeker's A1. You're then going to do A3 on your Painkeeper. You're going to do A2 on your second Man-Eater, and then A1 on your Battle Sage. Clan Boss will then take a turn. We'll start again with Man-Eater's A1. Seeker will use his A2, he'll get an extra turn and then use his A1. And then what you need to do on your 9th turn is make sure that Painkeeper uses her A2 ability. I think if there's a chance she can use her other ability there and screw up the tune a little bit if you don't do this manual for the full 9 turns. Most of the time she won't, but this is just to make sure it's 100%. We'll make sure we manual that through turn number 9 and use Painkeeper's A2. After that, you can hit auto and you are kind of off to the races. So what I'll do here, I'll let this run through. I'm going to speed it up a little bit so you don't have to sit through 12 minutes of Clan Boss fight, and then when this is over with, we'll come back at the very end and give some final thoughts on this comp and where we are going to go from here. Alright guys, so we're almost finished up here. You can see we are now on turn 42. This will eventually make it to turn 50 before the Clan Boss kills our team. I believe this run comes in just a little over 20 million damage, so that's kind of our base that we're going to be starting on and trying to improve upon. So this was pretty cool to have it work. After this, I also tested it on Ultra Nightmare. I think I posted that photo earlier in this video. But yeah, this was really exciting just to have this work. A lot of testing last night, and also just building up the gear and going through and making sure that the masteries and everything were correct. So this was pretty fun. Like I said earlier, I do want to get some better gear onto these champions. I'd like to get a toxic set on a few of them, and maybe even a furry set on a couple of them as well. I guess I should have said fury there, not furry. I don't know what, I can't talk today for some odd reason. But still, this is pretty cool. I'm very excited to start on this unkillable clan boss journey and see how much mileage we can get out of this actual team. Since it's already built, we'll kind of see what we can do with this before we move on maybe to a more traditional setup with someone instead of Battle Sage, and have the actual characters in their full speed gear that they need to be in with a more prolific damage dealer. We'll see what we can do there. But like I said, overall this is very cool. It was a lot of fun to work on, and I didn't expect it to get it done this quickly, but as I said, you know, the gear just wasn't there, and I was trying to find a way that maybe we could make something work. And so the idea to use a champion lead with speed aura kind of came in mind. So that might be helpful for some of you guys if you're maybe looking for a way to shortcut a little bit and get a unkillable team going. Might be something you could try. Like I said, I had been also considering Mother Superior for this role, but Battle Sage had a better speed aura, and just overall seemed like a better choice. Now I did also run this against Force Affinity, and it made it the full 50 turns, so I believe this is pretty much an affinity friendly team, and we'll test that further going forward. But anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Please let me know down below if you have any questions at all about the composition or anything you saw in the video. I'll do my best to answer those down below in the comments. As always, hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you again next time.